Today we're taking a look at these NBA matches, which are happening on Monday, December 27, 2021, and giving you match breakdowns, betting tips and predictions in general on these games. Welcome back to High Stakes, let's get straight into it. Also, don't forget to subscribe to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos, and if you would like more betting tips and predictions, then check out our Patreon in the link down below. Our new Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. 5 plans are available for each and every one of you. You can get 30 extra betting picks all the way up to 500 extra betting picks per month. Stop wasting hours of your time searching for bad betting advice that ends up costing you a lot of money. Join the High Stakes Patreon now and get the best betting picks and advice. Utah Jazz vs San Antonio Spurs. Leading their scoring output in the game was Mitchell, 25.4 ppg, who scored 33 points in the game and was the only player to score more than 25 points. The defense needs to step up more consistently as they are allowing 44.2% of shots to fall against them and are giving up 105.7 ppg, which is 8th in the nation. They need to play even better defensively if they want to pull out the win. Even though the Jazz have been winning a lot of games lately, they have let opponents including the short-handed Mavericks and Timberwolves hang around too long and are struggling against the spread as a result. This won't be an easy road test either, as the Spurs are looking like a playoff caliber team with a prolific enough offense to challenge Utah, and Mitchell's firepower will be sorely missed. Head coach Greg Popovich is slowly but surely starting to fit the pieces together in San Antonio, with the Spurs checking in at 11th in offensive rating thanks to strong perimeter shooting and the lowest turnover rate in the NBA. The Spurs will have the better depth in this game, and for as good as the numbers for the Jazz defense are overall, allowing 116 points in each of the last 2 games to extremely limited rosters isn't a good sign. The San Antonio Spurs have been struggling to begin this season as they are 14-18 to begin the regular season. They are being led by point guard Dejounte Murray so far, and that is going to help them progress throughout the regular season. They are coming off a 138-110 road win to the Los Angeles Lakers. The biggest problem that popped up was the fact they allowed the Lakers to shoot 46.8% from the floor throughout the game. The Utah Jazz have been incredible to begin this season as they are 23-9 to begin the regular season. They are being led by shooting guard Donovan Mitchell so far, and that is going to help them progress throughout the regular season. They are coming off a 120-116 home win against the Dallas Mavericks. The biggest problem that popped up was the fact they allowed the Mavs to shoot 35 times from the charity stripe throughout the game. Our first betting advice is to pick Utah Jazz -7. Utah is even against the spread at 16-16 and has failed to cover in 5 straight games despite the overall team success. Overs are 17-14-1 for the Jazz after each of their last 2 games went over the betting total. This is the NBA's top scoring offense, with the Jazz averaging 116 points per game on shooting splits of 58.1% from 2, also the league's best mark, and 36.8% from 3, ranking 5th. Utah also boasts an outstanding defense, with opponents managing 105.7 points per game while shooting 50.9% from 2 and 32.8% from deep, all top 8 marks in the league. With Mitchell sitting out on Monday due to a strained back, Bogdanovic will take over the role of lead scorer with an average of 17.4 points per game. Gobert has been dominant with an average of 15.4 points, 14.9 rebounds, and 2.3 blocks per game on 71.3% shooting from the floor, while veteran point guard Mike Conley Jr. adds 14.1 points and 5.4 assists per contest. Our second betting advice is to pick under 227.5. Quick reminder, don't forget to subscribe to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos, and if you would like more betting tips and predictions, then check out our Patreon in the link down below. Our new Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. 5 plans are available for each and every one of you. You can get 30 extra betting picks all the way up to 500 extra betting picks per month. Stop wasting hours of your time searching for bad betting advice that ends up costing you a lot of money. Join the High Stakes Patreon now and get the best betting picks and advice. Memphis Grizzlies vs Phoenix Suns. The Grizzlies got off to a fast start, connecting on 13 of their first 19 shots to take a 10-point lead. Dillon Brooks was whistled for a technical late in the second quarter, and Kyle Anderson got one while sitting on the Memphis bench early in the second half. The Grizz were unhappy with the officiating in this one, and that got into their heads in the second half. Brandon Clark missed his 11th game with right knee soreness. He is not expected to play on Monday. It took a run-in with the second worst scoring defense in the league for the Grizzlies to finally show some offensive life. The Sacramento Kings are basically handing out free buckets this season, and they allowed Memphis to fend off the slowly building narrative that their offense was starting to stink. But this Suns team is a completely different animal. For starters, they're one of the best defensive teams in basketball. They'll also be playing on their home floor, where they've only lost 3 games this season. The motivation to dominate will be there after the team got rolled over at home by the Golden State Warriors on Christmas. These two teams met once already back in November. Ja Morant scored a game-high 26 points, and the Grizzlies still got stepped on in a 119-94 loss in Memphis. He'll draw another tough matchup with Chris Paul, while the Grizzlies try to fend off DeAndre Ayton with Steven Adams. The latter will be the biggest mismatch on the floor. Memphis will also be without their second leading scorer, Dillon Brooks, who was placed in the COVID-19 health and safety protocols on Sunday. Our first betting advice is to pick Phoenix Suns -8. Pride should be in play ahead of their meeting with the Grizzlies on Monday. The Suns don't lose often at home, and they definitely don't lose back-to-back games. However, they're essentially going from defending one of the greatest guards to ever play the game to a young, emerging phenom like Ja Morant. This isn't a game the Suns should be taking lightly. With that said, the Grizzlies haven't shown anywhere near the same defensive consistency as the Warriors, and their offense seems to be running on fumes in recent outings. This could be one of those games where Phoenix can't put it out of reach simply by showing up and knocking down shots. Our second betting advice is to pick under the total. Dallas Mavericks vs Portland Trail Blazers. Over Christmas weekend, the Blazers added 3 more players to the health and safety protocols list: Robert Covington, Ben McLemore, and Keljin Blevins. That trio joins Dennis Smith Jr. and Trendon Watford on the list. Covington is the most significant player on the list, averaging nearly 7 points per game and spending the majority of the season in the starting lineup. In addition to these 5 players, the Blazers are still without starting guard CJ McCollum, whose collapsed right lung is fully healed and will be re-evaluated next week, the team said Thursday. McCollum is averaging 20.6 points, 4.1 rebounds and 4.5 assists for a Blazers team that has struggled with injuries this season. Portland has several key contributors in the health and safety protocols, which could ultimately impact things. The Trailblazers will at least have Lillard, Powell and Nurkic, at least as of this writing, which works in their favor. Dallas has struggled, especially with Doncic struggling with conditioning and injury issues. Throw in that Burke, Hardaway Jr. and Kleber are among those players in the health and safety protocols for Dallas, and it could be a rough night for the Mavericks. Portland, for all their recent issues, are a decent enough team at home. Chief among the missing Mavs players was MVP candidate Luka Doncic. Doncic leads the team in the 3 major offensive categories: points per game, 25.6, rebounds per game, 8.0, and assists per game, 8.2. Along with Doncic, Dallas played without Tim Hardaway Jr., Maxi Kleber, Reggie Bullock, Trey Burke, Ja'Cory McLaughlin and Josh Green, all sidelined in the health and safety protocols. Our first betting advice is to pick Portland Trail Blazers. On the year, the Trail Blazers are 15th in the league in scoring offense, with 108.1 points per game. Portland is 24th in rebounding with 43.8 boards a contest and 21st in assists, as they hand out 22.8 assists per game this season. The Trail Blazers are 26th in scoring defense by allowing 111 points per night. CJ McCollum is second on the team with 20.6 points per game on the year. Damian Lillard, 23.8 points, 7.5 assists, Norman Powell, 18 points, Jusuf Nurkic, 13.3 points, 9.9 rebounds, and Anthony Simons, 12.1 points, are solid contributors. Nasser Little, Cody Zeller, Robert Covington, Larry Nance Jr., Ben McLemore, Tony Snell and Dennis Smith Jr. are other rotation options for coach Chauncey Billups. Portland is 18th in the league in field goal percentage, as they shoot 45.2% from the field as a team this season. The Trailblazers are 7th in the league in threes per game, as they hit 13.3 per game, and are 14th in three-point percentage, as they hit 35.3% from beyond the arc. McCollum, lung, has been out since December 4 and will be re-evaluated this week. Zeller, quad, is expected to be out until early January, while Covington, McLemore, Smith Jr., Little, Trendon Watford and Keljin Blevins are all in the health and safety protocols. Our second betting advice is to pick over the total.